never really, appreciate someone until like they're better and gone. Do you kind of relate to that quote? And on top of it, do you feel like, especially today, that you're getting your flowers as a...
Yeah, for sure. But it's still, when you look at it, it's still excuses. Like I said before the fight, every one of my biggest fights, I say, I'm going to be prepared for the excuses. When you so great and you so much ahead of your competition, they look at the fighters that you fight and say they nobodies because how much you beat them by or the level of skills that you oppose against them. So when I fight this guy, he was a nobody. When I fight this guy, he was washed. When I fight this guy, it's an excuse, So who you want me to fight? I beat this guy, it's an excuse. I beat this guy, he's too young or whatever.
Hey man, what it do, still with the camp, sound like a lamb, big boss out, boss down, K-Po through the door, here to talk to this box, fuck about soliloquy. Them tough times don't last, good people do not yourself, call me if I like, maybe it matter. Peak game, made the foes on what's winning, your boy put it to the gym. I'm tired, I ain't gonna lie, but you know me, I gotta train, man, I gotta do some type of working out, my hand's still messed up. I might test it out tomorrow. I might try to box tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. I just been, the last, 2 weeks, I just been, lifting weights and running. That's it. You know what I mean? I tried to shadow box today. Even shadow boxing, my hand still feel a little, I don't know if I broke something in it or what, but y'all continue to pray for me, man. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't going to no doctor. I don't trust the doctor, so we're gonna let it heal naturally and see, what happened. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Let's talk boxing. So, Terence Crawford, at his parade, talked about there's always gonna be excuses, right? And I'm gonna make 2 videos. It's gonna be this video, gonna be on Boss High Boxing, and then this video also gonna get put on Clinch Factor. So this is for both channels, right? We're gonna keep it 1,000. Boss gotta do this. And go over to Clutch Factor and run it up. Subscribe. That's me and Coach B channel. You know what I mean? Me and Coach B gonna start a boxing gym. I'm getting to the coaching aspect, so my coach's intellect is it's one thing to be the fighter, right? But it's another thing to have a broad perspective pause from a coach's perspective, and I'm learning that. And I got a couple of fighters that I'm working with, so you know what I mean. It's like I'm getting away from the whole fighter mindset and getting to the coaching mindset. So it's pretty cool, man. Y'all want to work with a couple of my fighters, let me know. I got one that stay on, that boy, I had to hold him back, man, pause. He stay on green light, he with it, man. And he from Cali, mainly, my experience with Californians ain't always been positive, but that dude stay on green light, man. He be with it. He from Compton. He moved to Houston, man. That boy, that boy with it, man. He ready to fight. Ain't by any means necessary. You know what I mean? I done sparred him a couple of times, you know what I'm saying? He my fighter, man, he ready to go, man. I'm gonna introduce y'all to him. I'm gonna start doing little tutorials. I'm gonna let y'all see my fighter here, heavyweight. But the false narratives and excuses of Terence Crawford. So Terence Crawford talked about how there's always gonna be excuses. He talked about how now that he beat Canelo, there's still excuses. He said when he beat Errol Spence, his excuses. He says all his excuses after a fight. And let me just tell you something, okay? There are no excuses, right? We give Terence Crawford full credit, but the problem is when you choose to fight guys, it be something wrong with them, right? Now, I'm giving you full credit for beating Canelo. I'm giving you full credit for beating Errol Spence, but y'all can check my track record. When it came to Canelo, I've been saying that man been washed because I'm watching his last 5 fights. I've been saying, I said that in the John Ryder fight, I said that In the Charlo fight, I said that. In the Berlanga fight, the Jaime Munguia fight, you go watch all them videos I made. I said Canelo's washed. Right? I did not. This ain't a situation where, you know, I just decided to, I'm just gonna say he's washed. Like, nah. You know what I'm saying? Like, we keeping this mug G, we keeping it 1,000. When I mean G, we keeping it genuine. We keeping it authentic. Right? I've been said those narratives. Right? And those not even narratives, those are facts. Right? We've been pushed that out. We've been talked about that. Right? So, you chose to fight a washed up Canelo who ain't been looking, you know, destructible, who ain't been looking, yeah, he been winning, right? But he ain't been looking destructible. And you do this to yourself, right? And that's one thing I'm saying. One thing y'all Bud Booty Wars got to separate, man, and one thing he got to separate is when people sit there and is criticizing you for fighting certain guys at certain times, right? Hold on, y'all. I got some of these. All right, I'm back. When people criticize you for fighting fighters at certain times, you gotta understand and accept that. You gotta accept it, right? I told y'all, pay attention to words. He said now is the time to fight Canelo. Why is now the time, right? Why is he on the menu now? Why wasn't he on the menu when he was knocking heads off? You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, before you had the energy of, y'all remember, he had the energy of, I don't want to fight Canelo. Then it switched to, I want to fight Canelo. I could beat Canelo. Canelo's a blown up Mexican. Right? We just keep it 1,000. So that lets me further know, like, he saw slippage. Bomac even said that, right? He even said, like, hey, you know, we see Canelo is slowing down, right? We know after round 6, he slows down, right? Canelo ain't always been this way, right? Young Canelo stays strong through the duration of the fight. He put combination punches together. You know, he worked, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how Canelo was as a fighter. You know, now, his last couple fights, they've been seeing slippage. You've been seeing after a certain round, there's a decrease in production, right? He looks slower. He doesn't look the same as he do in the beginning of the fight. He don't look as energetic, as strong, right? He looks like he getting weaker, like he tired, right? So they knew that. This is not something Canelo has done his whole career, right? There may be a couple of fights he look a certain way. But his last 5 fights, he's looked the same. All 5 fights against C-level competition, right? Now, Jermell Charlo, I won't say he's C-level, but he was coming from 54, right? Right? And I know what y'all gonna say, well, Bud is coming from 54. That's true. Terence Crawford is coming from 54. Really, I say he coming from 47, which makes it worse. But he knows, right? He knew going into the fight, I have this advantage over Canelo, right? Okay? I know that he gonna get tired. I don't get tired. I know he's gonna get tired. Now, granted, we didn't know how Crawford's gonna look with that weight added on, right? That's real talk. We didn't know. And he showed us that, hey, you know, he is a different type of guy, right? That's just what it is. He defied the odds of boxing. But when I sit here and analyze everything, it's like this. Crawford chose to fight Canelo because he saw slippage in Canelo. That's just what it boils down to. You got to pay attention to words. You got to pay attention to, you know, actions, right? It's a great accomplishment what Terence Crawford has accomplished. 3-time undisputed. Okay? When you look at that on the surface level. But when I don't just look at stuff on the surface level. And that's with anything, right? I analyze everything. Even when somebody talking to me. I'm a quiet dude, right? I watch people's actions. I'm not a dude that pay attention to words, right? Like that. Right? And even if you talking, like I said, I'm going to look deeper into the situation. I'm going to see beyond what you're telling me, right? That's just what it boils down to. So when I see Crawford and I'm looking at his resume, I'm like, dang, he got a lot of accomplishments. If I wasn't a fan of boxing and I just was a fan of Crawford, or I was an outsider, just like a casual fan, I'd be like, man, Crawford's great, right? He's great. He's 3-time undisputed, man. And from what I'm hearing, they keep saying that he's done something no man has ever done in boxing. It probably won't ever be repeated again, right? You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, nowadays, belts is not really, you know, a thing. People don't really care about getting belts, right? But when you deep dive and you look beyond that, you're like, okay, cool. Who is he fighting? Okay, at 40. Who? At 40. Victor Postal? Okay. At 40, 47. Errol Spence. That's it. Right? And I told y'all, man, and this is the thing about me. Y'all sit here and try to call me a Bud hater and all that. I just want Crawford to fight the best fighters. That's it. Why does Errol Spence and all these other fighters got to fight Godzilla, but Crawford don't have to do that? Right? Y'all do the same thing with Shakur. Why does Javante got to fight Godzilla, but Shakur don't got to do that? Keyshawn don't got to do that. Anybody associated with Terence Crawford or he your favorite fighter, they didn't got to go through the fire. They just can wait and pick and choose and then observing it. Okay, cool. I'm gonna fight him right here. That's what they doing. That's what Crawford did, bro. All these other fighters had to basically fight, scratch, claw, right? I could literally say Errol Spence, and I'm just using him as a reference. I could use Floyd. I could use Manny Pacquiao. I could use Sugar Ray Leonard. I could use Marvin Hagler. I could use Roberto Duran. I could use Mike Tyson, right? Well, not really Mike Tyson, okay? Because Mike Tyson, he don't really got a lot of names on his resume. I mean, he got a couple. But Muhammad Ali, these dudes fought top competition in their prime, right? That's what it boils down to. They didn't wait until, they fought dudes regardless of if it was the right time or the wrong time for them. They fought them. Crawford fights dudes at the right time. I've been telling y'all this. We'll use Errol Spence since the Bud Buddies like to use Errol Spence. They're like, oh, he whooped Errol. He whooped Errol. He did. He beat the brakes off of Errol Spence. We ain't taking nothing away from that. But why did it take him till after Errol Spence got in an accident, came back, right, for Terence Crawford to be like, you know what, man, I'm locked in on Errol. Why did it take that? Y'all remember, bro. They had their little verbal spat like 2018, 2019. Right? Errol wasn't a champion that long. Errol went and fought Mikey Garcia. Right? Okay? He went and fought Mikey. They remember they were supposed to fight. Errol said, tell Bob, call Al. Bob Arum never called Al Heyman. Right? They were willing to make the fight. Andre Ward is even saying that there's interviews. Andre Ward said Errol Spence shot me DM saying, hey, bro, I ain't ducking no Crawford. I want to get these belts and then fight Crawford. Right? Like, I really want to fight him, but I got to do X, Y, Z, and F. You know what I'm saying? That's what it boils down to. Okay? Now, I genuinely believe it was more Al Heyman and PBC telling him to go down that path. I think Errol wanted to fight Terence Crawford way before that. That's my perspective. That's how I feel. Because Errol ain't the type of dude that ducks smoke. You look at his resume. Like I said, he fought Danny Garcia after accident. I was like, I don't know if he gonna win that fight. I'm not gonna lie to you. I ain't sit there and was like, oh, Errol gonna... I was like, I don't know, bro. Like, Danny Garcia ain't no slouch, bro. And he made easy work. But who was in the crowd of that fight? Terence Crawford. And Terence Crawford's on record saying, hey, I knew after being at that fight, I was going to beat Errol. So that was post-accident Errol, right? He looked at post-accident Errol and said, I'm going to beat him. right? Now, Terence Crawford did say this. This is true. Y'all know me, I keep it 1,000. He did say when him and Errol got in his verbal spat, they gonna say when I stop you, they gonna say you was weight drained. They gonna say this, they gonna say that. And that's what everybody is saying, right? I ain't saying that, but that's what everybody's saying, right? Now, granted, a lot of people feel like the only reason you beat Errol is because of the fact that Errol wasn't the same coming off the accident. But why was there a sense of urgency for you to fight Errol and to leave Top Rank after the accident? Terence Crawford is even on record on his Twitter saying, hey, I don't want to fight Errol Spence because he coming off the accident because I don't want no excuses if I fight him and beat him. So like that goes back to what I say. You do this to yourself, right? He do this to himself. And then when people go ahead and they analyze it and they look and they like, bro, like, this ain't it. Ah, man, y'all just trying to discredit my win and this, that, and the third. You do this to yourself. You left, this another thing. You left a division that was popping, bro. 54 is popping. It's bubbling. It's so many names down there. You literally got the pick of the litter, right? You would be the A side over, I would say, over a lot of them down there, bro. So you literally could, you know, like if you wanted to pick and choose, you literally could. And there are a lot of big fights down there. I understand you taking a Canelo fight. I understand it. That's life-changing money. I get it, right? That's life-changing money. That's a life-changing, life-altering opportunity, right? All I'm saying at the end of the day is you get upset, the Bud Buddies get upset when you mention resume. That's your opportunity to fix it, right? We keeping it 1,000. I've never hated on this nigga. This is no hate, no shade, no nothing, right? Okay? I told y'all, I love boxing. I don't love fighters. So, you know, when you come to me with that emotional stuff, because you a fan of Terence Crawford, you're not going to beat me, bro. You can't beat me in the debate because you can't debunk what I'm saying. Jay Will, you you my bro. I fool with you, but you can't debunk nothing I'm saying. You're talking from a space of fandom. You're a fan of Terence Crawford, right? So when you talk about all the excuses, when you talk about the accolades, right? It's because you are a fan of him, bro. You're a fan of him, and you think everybody else think how you think. But that's not how this works over here. We love the sport of boxing. That's what it is. I call everything straight down the middle. I've never disrespect Crawford. You never heard me say he sucked. You never heard me say he a bad fighter. I just said there are certain fights I don't feel like he can win, right? I feel like he couldn't beat Errol. He shut me up. He beat Errol, right? Canelo Alvarez, it was too much of the unknown, right? And that was a fight that nobody asked for. Nobody asked for Canelo versus Crawford, right? There was no upside for Canelo. What was the upside for Canelo if he beat Crawford? Nothing. He gained nothing. I've been telling y'all this. Y'all tried to push this narrative, oh, he beats a pound for pound. Terence Crawford has accolades. He has all these accolades. But who did he beat to get these accolades? And where was the fighter or said person at in their career when he beat them? Canelo is where he is right now based off past accomplishments. It ain't because of what he's currently doing in boxing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he winning. But he going to war in tooth and nail with an Edgar Berlanga who just got stopped by Hamza Shiraz. Easy work. Jaime Munguia, who got knocked out by a Frenchman who only had 4 knockouts. Do you not understand what I'm saying? John Ryder, bro, who Jaime Munguia stopped after Canelo. What are we doing? So, like, we not finna sit here, bro, and because Canelo was winning, you trying to push a narrative because you're a fan of Crawford. No. I respect Crawford as a fighter. I think he's a great fighter. But at the same time, I'm not a dude that look at stuff from surface level. I go beyond what is shown to me. So I'm going to look deeper. Pause. Right? You remember back in the day, you know, when your girl say go deep and you go deep. Well, my bad. I ain't want to say that. Some of y'all don't know about that because y'all mess with boys. I'm saying at the end of the day, to keep it 1,000, it's like, look, we have to understand, bro, that Crawford is great, but there's an asterisk by the accomplishments. Because it's like, who did you beat? Right? You beat Earl. Cool. But when did you beat Earl? Off the accident. That's facts. You didn't beat prime Errol Spence. Now, is that his fault? No. That ain't his fault. That's not Terence Crawford's fault. Okay? Well, it's partially his fault. Okay? It's partially his fault. And I'm going to say why. Okay? You knew that man wasn't the same. You went and fought him anyway. Right? That's just real talk. Okay? After you said, you acknowledged and said, he not the same. Terence Crawford, there's a tweet from back then when he said, man, I'm not going to fight Earl because he's not the same. He's coming off the accident. He's not the same. I'm not going to get the credit that you know, it's going to be an excuse. He said that. Not that's not nothing I'm saying. He said that. So all I'm saying at the end of the day is this whole narrative he trying to push like the world is against him. He need to cut it out, bro. That's false. All of that's falsified information. Right? And I'm just being honest, bro. Like, we gotta keep this bug real, bro. Terence Crawford is great. He's gonna be in the Hall of Fame. He is. First ballot. Right? He gonna be in the Hall of Fame. But when you look at him compared to all the other Hall of Fame fighters, he not even touching Floyd. He ain't touching Sugar Ray Leonard. He ain't touching Hagler. He ain't touching Hearns. He ain't touching Roberto Duran. He ain't touching De La Hoya. He ain't touching Manny Pacquiao. Ricky Hatton. Do I need to keep going like a Nile? I can keep flowing. He ain't touching them, bro. You know what I'm saying? 40, there was nobody. Look, I say this. At 140, there was no dogs in that division at that time. That's not his fault, right? But at 47, it was cracking, right? And he chose to stay with Top Rank, stay loyal to them, thinking that, oh, man, Bob is going to give me opportunities to make these fights. When has Bob Arum ever took a black fighter, right, who reached a certain point and made mega fights with them? In the last 25 years. I'm not talking about, you know, the Muhammad Ali days, the Sugar Ray Leonard days. I'm not talking about nothing. I'm talking about the last 25 years. When is he took a black fighter and made a mega fight with them? He'll do that with Lomachenko. He'll do that with Manny Pacquiao. He ain't going to do that with no black fighters. So Terence Crawford did that to himself. He knew where the smoke was at. He should have went over there. And this is the thing. He ended up doing exactly what he should have been doing. He went and fought Errol on PBC. So all I'm saying at the end of the day, like, bro, like, you sitting here pushing this narrative, oh, they tried to freeze me out. They tried to blackball me. No, you did that to yourself. You can't blame nobody but yourself because you knew where everybody was at. Just like now, everybody going to sign with Turkey. If you're not basically putting yourself in position to where you could go get a fight with Turkey, you're kind of freezing yourself out. Right? Look at David Benavidez. David Benavidez got Bivol, Better, Beef, all them guys, them light heavyweights over there with Turkey. If David Benavidez would have stayed fighting dudes on PBC, what light heavyweights the PBC got for David Benavidez? Right? They had Morrell. David Benavidez beat Morrell. Right? So we got to keep it 1,000. Like, you got to go where you got to go where the smoke is at, bro. That's just what it is. David Benavidez went over there. Devin Haney. Top Rank had all the Top Rank had all the belts on Top Rank. Devin Haney was signed to Eddie Hearn and DAZN. Devin Haney went to Top Rank and signed with Top Rank so he can get them fights to become undisputed. Why didn't Crawford do that? See, y'all want to ignore this stuff and just be like, oh, well, he ain't have to do it. Oh, no, you do got to do it. You got to go where the smoke is at, brother. You got to go where it's at. That's the facts. You can't sit there, bro, and just sit there and be like, oh, man, they don't want to fight me. Bro, you know where the talent is at. You know where everything at. Go over there and beat these people. Nobody's sitting there saying that Crawford couldn't beat Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman. Nobody, we don't know, right? We don't know till you go over there and try. He never tried. So him pushing this narrative that, oh, man, nobody wanted to fight me, man. Nobody, they tried to freeze me out. And that is bull jive, brother. I'm sorry. I can't run with that narrative, brother. I'm not subscribed to that. I'm not finna cap. So we got to do better when it comes to Crawford. All this excuses talk, all this other stuff he trying to make up in his head and make everybody believe is bull jive, bro. I would tell him that to his face. You know what I'm saying? The problem with the boxing media is the problem with boxing media now is they don't know how to ask the right questions and they sack chase fighters too much. That's just real talk. They sack chase these dudes. They scared to ask real questions. You know what I mean? Like, bro, ask that man that tough question. Hey, bro, why didn't you go fight him at this time? Why are you fighting him? Ask the real questions. It's like they afraid of these fighters, right? And then these YouTubers, they starting to be afraid because they don't want to miss an interview. I don't give a damn about doing no interview. I don't care about that. I'm here to talk boxing. I'm not here to sack chase no fighters. You know what I mean? I don't disrespect the fighters. I don't talk crazy about fighters, but I'm going to stand on my 10 at the end of the day, bro. Like, and that ain't tough guy stuff, right? We got to get out of this era. Like, that's why I'm like 2020, the 2020s. Because dudes, man, nowadays, they don't like confrontation. They like to make it seem like they like confrontation. They like to make it seem like, you know what I mean? It's like, bro, like, if you ain't... My bad. God forgot I'm getting animated. All I'm saying, bro, at the end of the day is this. Okay, to get back on topic, because I was getting off topic, getting animated. My bad. Is that Terence Crawford is a great fighter. Hall of Fame fighter. You know what I mean? I say a top 20, fighter of all time. He's not a top 10 fighter of all time. He's not a top 5 fighter of all time. You can't put him up there. His resume does not uphold that. That's just what it is. Okay? He ain't fight Keith Thurman. He ain't fight a prime Sean Porter. He ain't fight Danny Garcia. He ain't fight and I'm talking about when these dudes was champions. Right? He didn't do that. He tried to play the politic game, hide behind Bob Arum, and say, hey, give me these fights. No. You know how easy it is to make it seem like a fighter ducking you? Look what Eddie Hearn doing. Okay? Look what Eddie Hearn doing. And I'm going to close. Look what Eddie Hearn doing with Boots. They offering dudes low ball offers, and then the fighters turn the fight down. He like, oh, yeah, he ducking. What? He ducking. We made an offer to him. He turned it down with no details, right? Then you find out that, oh, man, he made him like kind of a lowball offer. And it's like, well, that's why he didn't want to fight, because you made him this offer. Like, what are he going to do with that? For a fight of this magnitude, like, you got to pay. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I think it was more of. Bob Arum and them, when they made the offer to Danny, right? Which I say this. I do think Danny Garcia turned the fight down, but I think he was advised to do that. And the reason why I say that is because of the fact that Danny Garcia at that time, I feel like was a bigger star than Terence Crawford, right? So they made an offer, the same offer that he got to fight Ryan Gavro or whoever he was. They got an offer, and but PBC offered him the same amount of money to fight Ron Gavro, right? And which he's like, if I'm gonna fight Terence Crawford, that's a big fight. We should be making more money, right? So I understand the business, right? But it looked like he ducking, right? It looked like that way. So, hey, we'll just run the narrative. He ducked. But all I'm saying is, you know how easy it makes stuff look like that. Y'all gotta understand. You gotta take your fan glasses off, right? You gotta take your fan glasses off. You gotta understand this boxing game from another perspective. See, I look at it from a broad perspective. I'm not sitting here looking at it from a perspective of, no, bro. Like, just because you a fan and you a sack chaser don't mean that I look at it the same way. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, bro. Like, you got some women out here who think all men look at women the same way because of that they're dealing with one man, right? It's like, no, that's not how this thing goes. I'm just tired of, when it comes to Terence Crawford, it's like y'all lose logic. And y'all just, yeah, they ducked him. What was he doing to make them duck? What was he doing? Right? What was he doing? What is Terence Crawford doing to make you be like, you know what, man? Everybody he fight, right? Everybody's still standing up when he stopped him. The referee steps in, waved the hands. Hey, that's it. Errol still standing up, still trying to fight. Jeff Horn, same thing. Me Machine, they stepped in. He knocked them down, same thing. Jose Benavidez Jr., same thing. The only one he knocked out cold was David Evanesian. That's it. That's the only one where I was like, dang, he slept, buddy. He ain't doing nothing to where you like, man. He ain't doing what Tank was doing to people prior to him fighting Lamont Roach. He wasn't doing what Prime Wilder was doing where you like, man, I don't know if I want to get in the ring with this nigga. This nigga knocking soul out people about it. He ain't doing that. He's using boxing IQ and athleticism, and he beating you, right? And he's in a lot of time, he be in more shape than the dude he in there with, so he able to maintain the pace of what he'll get the dude to fight the type of fight that he wants them to fight. That's what he does. Right? He got Canelo to do that. Right? From what I heard, he got Canelo to fight his fight. Canelo didn't fight his fight. Canelo started trying to go blow for, like, bro, you can't do that. You know? And then I'm looking at I watched Showbiz. He talked about the CompuBox, and Canelo was barely throwing jabs. I'm looking at the numbers. I'm like, this nigga ain't throwing no jabs. So you're not going to beat no dude if you ain't throwing no jabs, but it may be because Crawford took his jab away. But you got to figure out how to reiterate it and use it. That don't mean that you can't not throw it. You got to keep throwing it. You know what I mean? I've been in sparring matches with professional boxers. John Torres. Y'all look him up. He's in the top, I think 50 or 20 at 168. He a southpaw, got power. Y'all gonna hear about him. He a Puerto Rican. That dude got high boxing IQ. I used to spar him. You take my jab away, bro. And he a southpaw. You know what I'm saying? Take my jab away. I still was throwing the jab. I ain't care. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna throw that mud, bro. I'm not gonna be void of using my jab. I'm still gonna throw it. Right? I'm gonna figure out how to use it. I'm gonna figure out how to reuse my jab. You know what I'm saying? But it's just the principle of the whole thing. I'm cooking, dog. This video 30-something minutes. I'm just saying, bro, at the end of the day, keep it 1,000, keep it true. I'm coming down working with Will is this. The narratives that man pushing is false. A lot of it, the whole talk about Canelo being washed is his fault. Errol Spence is sort of his fault. Because he knew, he even tweeted, man, Errol is da. Right? That's what it is. So I'm not trying to hear it, bro. He's great, though. I've always said that. Everybody say that. Nobody, well, it's a couple dudes I know, they say he sucked. But I've never personally said that. Nobody can pull up a video or nothing where you said Boss Hog said Terence Crawford sucks. So where's the hatred at? Get your mind out your a-hole. Get your mind right. Because you a simp, like Pimp C say. Big boss. Man, let me know what y'all think. I'm going.